talk about the Katt Williams interview real quick. I'll do a quick rundown of the video, man. It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I watched it all the way through the intros, the highs and the lows, and you know, for the most part, a lot of people know Katt's story or whatever. So I ain't gonna really dig off into that. But he went in on, all the comedians he had on the show. Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley. He kind of went in on Earthquake, but not really go in on Earthquake like that. But he basically, Ricky Smiley went on there and he said that he was meant to play Money Mike in the Friday After Next, and Katt Williams stole the role. So Katt set the record straight, said for the most part, he did that. It was, he was like audition 200 something, and that Ricky Smiley never was meant to have a role, that he came up with the image and wrote the lines, and it was his idea to put Bishop Don Juan, a real pimp, in there and stuff. But the more interesting thing he said about it was, he said, I don't know why he would lie after losing a child. And then he goes and says that in his contract, it says if he was able to work with Ricky Smiley again, that Ricky Smiley would have to put on a dress. And he said, why would you put that in the contract? And he said, because that's the only time he do good in character. Said that Ricky Smiley and Tyler Perry can't play no man. They're only good playing women. And I mean, he threw a lot of poisonous darts. You got to understand, he was the one that exposed Professor Ogilvy in that stand-up I think he did in Atlanta. People forget about that stand-up he did in Atlanta. He said, I want to remember Professor Ogilvy? So Katt Williams been saying some things, and he threw some darts at Faison Love. Said he's a fat Faison liar. That shit was, what did he say? Faison liar. He said Faison Love is only good. He said Faison Love is only in movies where he got to take his shirt off. He said Faison been doing comedy for 20, 30 years, and Faison has never had a stand-up special. He went in on Cedric about Cedric stealing a joke. Now, comedian Scronjo, he was on the 5150 show a few months ago. He had a really good showing on the 5150 show because Scronjo was kind of in the news for putting hands allegedly on TK Kirkland, and TK Kirkland going to the police and trying to press charges allegedly on Scronjo, and they was going back and forth about what happened in that situation, whatever. But Scronjo pretty much confirmed that, hey man, Cedric did steal the joke. Cedric said he didn't steal the joke and all this stuff, and they talked about how Cedric gave him a comedy award, and Katt Williams said that he stole the joke. He had performed it on BET. He was even on the commercial for with Def Jam or BET Comedy Slam or whatever, and that he stole it for the Kings of Comedy. He went in and said he was offered to be on the Kings of Comedy. Don't know how true that was, but he said that he turned it down because they always hating on Bernie Mac, and how the only other funny one other than Barney was D.L. Hughley. He said he not going to take no D.L. Hughley slander, but he said that Steve Harvey hair was fake. A lot of people, we all knew that. I thought everybody knew that. We all knew, most of the people that around my, we knew Steve Harvey. Eventually we heard that it was a fake. It was a hair thing. It was a man wig. But he said Cedric Entertainer was supposed. That's why they call him Entertainer. Then we found out he couldn't write, he couldn't dance, he couldn't sing, that he ain't funny. He said he got 4 comedy specials. You can't find them on Netflix. You can't find them on Tubi. I mean, he's talked about Kanye West and how Kim Kardashian wanted him to change and all this type stuff. And, and women do that. I know somebody who they met the guy when they met him at the job. He did his thing. He was doing certain things at the job. And he was a certain way, and then have a baby bomb and start complaining. I'm threatening to leave you, and if you don't change, like, this is the product that you wanted to procreate with. That's wild with me. Women be wanting to change, be wanting to change you, and I picked this saying up, man, and listen to this saying. Women, Rick Ross said in one of his songs, I think it was Deeper off the Barry White sample. And he said every woman was born to break a man, right? Think about it. Women break you down. Women they want to break you down and then leave you. They want to break you down, change you, and leave you for the man you used to be. Hear me out. Women's job is to break you down and leave you for the man that you used to be. The in shape, arrogant, asshole, cocky nigga used to be. They want to domesticate you with bills. They want to domesticate you with kids. They want to domesticate you, with all this fast food and all this shit. And then they want to leave you. So they always want to change you. And a real man ain't going to allow that to happen, to be real. But sometimes life circumstances do so. I mean, he was talked about how Ludacris sold, he basically said him and Ludacris had an opportunity to get into the Illuminati, allegedly. He said that they chose Ludacris. And that's why Ludacris got the Fast and the Furious roles, and it was a $200 million deal. And he talked about how all these dudes got these light-skinned wives with the plastic faces, and he got mad because he thought he was talking about Steve Harvey. But he said, you got to remember, that role applies to more than one person. And he brought that up. He talked about, called Chris Tucker, got mad at Chris Tucker for not wanting to do another Friday, said that he didn't want to be seen as smoking weed. I think he put out Willie Nelson was smoking weed, Snoop was smoking weed. He said all of a sudden Chris Tucker get on Epstein plan and he don't want to smoke weed no more. Or he said the Chris Tucker didn't want to smoke weed no more. He talked about Puff. He said Puff offered, wanted to take his cookies, and he said you just simply got to tell him no. He said Harvey Weinstein made a sexual pass in front of him in front of his agency. He said no, and he said it was 4 other actors there. They got the gig. He said what you think they did? And what's so funny, man? I got a homie. He told me that, bro. He was saying that he knew a rap group that went to Hollywood, and they went to audition. And that it was like 4 or 5 of them, and only 2 came back. And part of them getting a audition, or part of them getting the record deal in Hollywood, was that they had to perform sexual acts for other men. They had to perform sexual acts for other men, bro. And he said only like 1 or 2 of them came back. There was 2 out of 5 or something like that came back. The other 3 did it. Ali Vegas, check out that interview. If you don't believe me, this is a reference point. Ali Vegas said the same thing. He was a alleged ghostwriter for Nas. He said that his cousin, had a modeling gig, and he's supposed to be end up getting modeling gig and being on what's the crime show? What's the crime show where Law and Order? He was supposed to get a gig on Law and Order, and right before he about to sign his deal, that he went into the secret little Hollywood party, and allegedly Tyson Bedford made him there. You can look this whole story up, and he basically had to give up the cheeks. And he said no. He said he moved to the Middle East, and he didn't sign the deal, and he got up out of the U.S. So, like I said, all this stuff that's coming to light about Hollywood and all that. He spoke on Jonathan Majors. He talked about how, Jonathan Majors, women were saying he was a good looking dude. He said, when did ugly niggas become into style? You know what I'm saying? And basically he insinuated that, and a few people insinuated that Jonathan Majors just didn't play ball with the powers that be. You got to understand, when they get a favor for you, they can come back for another favor, and you don't take one of them favors, it's a wrap. This is what happened when you submit to a master. This is what happened when you sell your soul. It's just not, I sell my soul and I'm good. No, I sell your soul and they can come back for favors and favors. He debunked Kevin Hart, was saying how did he come to Hollywood and automatically have a TV company, a deal, and stand-up comedy? He basically was insinuating, allegedly, that Kevin Hart sold his soul. He said Kevin Hart, how did he come out here with a leading role in Soul Plane and all that stuff when he first got to LA? In his documentary, Chris Rock, he showed how he built this empire on the East Coast. At the end of the day, when guys, they submit to another master, they sell their soul, Illuminati, whatever it is, to the devil, to the gatekeepers in Hollywood. He spoke on all that. You got to understand, bro, at some point they be like, hell no. At some point the devil got to cash in that ticket. If Diddy and Kanye had to answer, at some point you got to cash in that ticket. He said Kevin Hart said he'd never wear a dress. He said he wore a dress. Once they get you to say yes to the big deal, they put them on, and it's difficult to everybody. Everybody got circumstances. The man had a wife, he had a kids. I'm making no excuses for these niggas. You know, Ludacris and them. They had circumstances, they had wife, they had kids, they had money issues, and that amount of pressure that's on the man, he gonna do what he gotta do for his family. Some niggas gonna be like, you know what, man, I don't want it that bad. And one thing that's killing the game is these internet guys that's making money. This is why they gonna regulate the internet. They making money. They don't need Hollywood. They got better scripts. They got cameras on the iPhones. And in Country Wayne, these dudes is making the killing. So they don't need to bow down to Hollywood's rituals. They already hood rich. They already internet rich. But before that, you had to go through these proper things to own all this stuff. And at the end of the day, you don't feel fulfilled. You hear about these stories where women say, you know, after they have sex, guys make them don't feel right and feel good and all that, and they feel terrible, and then, you know, they go into like depression and all this, and they go into male hate, and they call it aftercare. So same thing when you do deals like this. But hey, let me know what you girls and guys think. Check the music entertainment playlist out. Hit the link tree. Find me everywhere there. It's the first link in the description. Peace.